Hello friends, welcome to my channel Sushant. Today we are at the next topic, that is the endgame studies explained, and we are at the 29th position. We have got a case of rook and bishop versus pawns over here, and we can make out that the black pawns are about to queen. White's task looks a bit difficult to stop both these pawns, because if white tries to bring the rook behind by the move rook b8, then c1 queens, and after rook h8 check, kg3, even if b8 check is managed, he can only get back the pawn and not more. King g2, rook h2, king f3, the position is not winning for white. After the most obvious move rook c6, h1 equal to queen, we see that rook c2 creates some threats like bf2 check followed by rook c4 check, but here black himself will start giving checks and create pressure on the white position. This position is winning for black. After the king move to f6, then queen a1 check and the bishop is lost. And after move like king f7, black can play the move like queen e4. And we can see that there are multiple threats on the white pieces, like qb7 is there, queen attacks the c2, and queen is capable of giving many checks like qh7 check, and black is winning over here. I have taken this position deliberately because we are going in continuation of our topic of mating net, and this position is very much related to that. White is ready to surrender his rook or some material in order to put the black king in a mating net. So white wants to use the move rook h6 check in order to get a winning position. But there is one catch. After the move king f5, we see that if c1 queens, then the queen is guarding the h6 square. So rook h6 check is not possible, right? And after king f5, h1 looks winning because rook h6 check, kg3, and we win the queen. So let's play the moves king f5. If h1 equal to queen, then rook h6 check, kg3, rook takes h1, king takes g2, and the rook takes the pawn on c2 by force, and white wins. The main variation is the move c1 queen. But here comes the surprise element of the position. White still goes for rook h6 check, creating a decoy and snatching away the king's escape route. So comes rook h6 check. If queen takes h6, then comes bishop f2 check. The bishop and pawn force the king to go back, so the king goes to h5 and the move g4 mates. We have a unique kind of position there. Rook h6 check, queen takes h6, bf2 check, force king h5, and g4 checkmate. And after rook h6 check, if the king moves to g3, then again comes rook g6 check. This time the rook supports the pawn on g2, f3 and f2 squares are guarded, king has to go to h4, and the similar pattern comes back into play. Bishop f2 check, king h5 and g4 mate. This time the rook guards the h6 square. So kh4, bf2 check, kh5 and g4 checkmate. So that leaves us with the last variation. After the move king f5, both c1 and h1 doesn't work. We see that if king goes to g3, then also we can move the rook with a check, followed by bishop can give check. So that will also lead us to a winning position. So after kg3, we can just go rook g6 check, and the king is again forced back to come to the h4 square. So finally there is the only line, which is the move king h5. White should force the moves here. g4 check, kh4, rook h6 check, kg3, bishop b8 check. Now king has to come to f3, g2 or f2 squares. If king comes to f2 or g2, then rook h2 check and the c2 pawn is lost. So only move king f3. But now comes rook h3 check, ke2, rook h2 check, king d1 and the bishop guards the c1 square and white wins. So the last variation was equally important because white had to force things and not allow the black pawn to queen. I hope you are finding these lessons useful. Do like, share and subscribe the channel. Thanks for your time.